Mike here. Got a great video for you today. Today's video is going to be about the lion's mane mushroom, the Hericium erinaceus. Now, I've got a lot of experience farming this mushroom. I've grown thousands of pounds of it over the years. I've also been out foraging and seen it in the wild many times. So today's video, we're really going to cover the foraging aspect and key identifying features, where you can find this mushroom growing, what you'll find it on, what time of the year, what season you'll find this mushroom in. I just want to say too, if you're into this kind of content, mushrooms, farming, anything like that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button right now so you see more mushroom and farming content like this in the future. But like I said today, guys, we're going to go over the lion's mane mushroom, the key identifying features, where you can find it, when you can find it, all that good stuff. Let's get it. All right, everyone. So you can see I've got 3 lion's manes that I found right here. I'll never forget this morning. It was kind of like a rainy springtime morning, and I was taking a walk. It was kind of late spring, by the way. I was taking a walk, and I was behind a park in some kind of heavy old oak trees, and I like this area just because the old oaks tend to hold a lot of really cool mushrooms. There's a lot of biodiversity there. And the lion's manes happened to be fruiting that morning. It was super cool to walk up on some stuff like this. These things looked so majestic. I will never forget that moment. Now, as far as the temperature, this day it was in the 50s, I remember. But usually if the low is in the 50s, high is in the 70s, the 80s, these mushrooms will be out fruiting. So you're kind of looking in that temperature zone, the low in the 50s, high in the 70s to 80s. Somewhere around there, and you can potentially find lion's mane mushroom. Now, this was another one on that log. These looked absolutely gorgeous, didn't they? Okay, so as you can see, those were prime specimens. That is exactly what you will see when you walk up on a log in the forest. You'll see these kind of like white, hairy looking things hanging off it. They're unmistakable. Okay, now we're gonna, like I was saying, that was about 55, 60-ish degrees there. You can still find them in the highs going up into the 80s. And I've even found it with highs in the 90s, guys. So, I mean, they've got a wide range. That Hericium, it can fruit pretty much spring to fall. I've seen it, like I said, early spring in April in the Midwestern region. And I've had a lot of people tell me in the fall when they're out doing hunting and deer hunting and stuff like that in the fall time that they'll be in their tree stands and they'll find them. It's because now the lion's mane, not only will you find it on like a lying down log, you can also find it on a tree, like very, very high in the air. So that's one thing you'll notice too sometimes. Sometimes you may find these things way up there. You might need to get like a mushroom stick or rig something up with like a knife on a pole if you want to cut it down and harvest it. But it's happened many times to people. So I want to go over some of the key identifying features now, okay? Let's check it out. All right, everyone, so let's go over some of the key identifying features. So like I said earlier, the lion's mane will be growing on a log typically. You will see that it's got a ball-like spherical structure with teeth that kind of grow off it. It's got a white tone to it. Sometimes it gets a little off-white or tannish when they start to age. I will have a picture of that a little bit later and we will kind of go over that. The inside of these mushrooms are actually pretty much solid. As you can see, there's one torn up right there, and you can see it just in pieces. You can see the tooth-like structure, but for the most part, they are pure white on the inside, and they're pretty solid. So that's a key identifying feature too. If you just slice one in half or break one in half, you will be able to see that it's solid and does display a little tooth-like pattern. Now here you guys can see a specimen that's a little over mature. This one's a little overripe. You can kind of see that tan color, the drying out on the top of the mushroom. So this is one thing to kind of be aware of when you're foraging for lion's mane. You could cut some of that off, and this one did have some edible pieces, but this one is not a prime specimen. As you can tell, though, it is growing on a log. You can find these on oak, maple, beech, aspen, all sorts of different things. You will definitely find that they grow on a variety of different trees. Now, here's a picture of me holding that one in my hand, just for size reference, and you can see it does still have some good parts on that thing, but it is a little bit past its prime. Now, here's a cool little photo. This one is me, actually, with a prime quality lion's mane behind one of my friend's bait shops. I found this mushroom back there behind a lake there, and it was one of the first times I found this mushroom there. It was a really cool experience. All right, cool. So that was the key identifying features and some trees you may potentially find the lion's mane on. So hopefully you pick something up there, and next time you're out in the woods, you'll be able to possibly identify and find a lion's mane. Now, I was mentioning these things are edible, okay? So I want to kind of talk about the taste and everything like that. Now that we're thinking about eating something, so this is a mushroom that tastes like crab meat or lobster. You may have heard that before, but it's pretty much true. It's not going to be exactly like it, but as far as being a mushroom and tasting similar to crab meat or lobster, that's how I would compare it. Now, you could saute it, you could put it in some type of meal to mimic crab or lobster. That's very common. Also, keep in mind, like I said, I'm a farmer. I've farmed thousands of pounds of this over the years. I just made a video on how to grow the perfect lion's mane. I'll put that down in the description box below. So if that interests any of you, you can click that and check out the video of farming lion's manes and what it takes to farm them, because they're great to sell at the farmer's market, or even if you just want to eat some at home yourself. I'll go on videos about doing small amounts and growing small batches of them so you don't have to grow a large amount like I do. But anyway, I want to show you a couple photos of just one that I tempura fried. I like the tempura fried mushrooms. It's because it's just good for like a little appetizer. But here's a few pics of one tempura fried. This is actually one I grew and cooked and everything on my construction site here in Colorado. You can actually see the old construction in the background. This is actually funny to me looking at this photo. And then you can kind of see the inside of the tempura fried mushroom right here. And I like to use cornstarch. It gives these mushrooms like a nice thin crispy coating, and I think it's really good on them. All right, so that was just one way I played around cooking some lion's mane. If you have any favorite lion's mane recipes or cooking methods, why don't you drop that in the comment section below and let me know how you like to cook your lion's mane. If you've ever been out in the woods foraging and found lion's mane, why don't you leave that in the comments below too? I'd like to kind of hear your experiences as far as finding this mushroom goes. Now, one thing I want to say that I've experienced, I've actually been lucky enough to experience finding this mushroom on the same log year after year, season after season. That's a very neat thing about mushrooms, that once you find a spot, you can keep going to that spot a lot of times year after year and keep continuing to find that mushroom. So I'm going to show you a photo right here in a little bit of a mushroom I found, a lion's mane mushroom I found growing on a log. And I actually have been able to go back to that log several years. I want to say I've probably found that mushroom on that same log 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 different years. I've got 2 photos here, but I've definitely found that mushroom about 3 or 4 different times. All right, guys, let's take a look at it. Okay, so here you can see I've got 2 little lion's manes, nice little specimens. They're kind of fresh, actually. They were growing on a decaying log, just laying on its side. And now take a close look at the background. Okay, see, I was actually up on a ridge. This is the same log. It was kind of hard to tell for sure, but this is the same log, I know for certain, that I picked mushrooms off of multiple years in a row. This was a prime specimen here in this photo this year. All right, everyone. So that was the lion's mane, the Hericium erinaceus, in the wild. So if you guys have any lion's mane foraging stories or anything like that, like I said, drop it in that comment section below. But that's all I got for you this time. Make sure you drop this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will catch you on the next one.